I would say, unfortunately, in our society today, most of us are keeping this knowledge of God aside. Because I come from a legal background, and most of the time I see that when it comes to Bhagavad Gita, Mahabharata, Ramayana, then people who are more educated, they generally think that it's a book of mythology. And I have been studying these books from last 20 years, and I tell people, okay, fine, if you believe that these books are just a mythology, it is not reality, no problem. If you still read these books, you will understand that these books are very logical. It is not just being created by some ordinary human being. We definitely come to the conclusion that these books have been written by the super intelligent people, if not God. That's the conclusion that we can easily draw when we read these books. So my topic of presentation for today is the science of self-realization. So before we get into this topic, in Vedanta Sutra, there is one aphorism. It starts with Athato Brahma Jigyasa. See, as an educated professionals, most of us are always looking into the fact that, okay, we need to be inquisitive about life. We need to be inquisitive about different things happening in this world. And we try to get into the details. Since I come from a legal background, when I do something, I go into the deep of it. And unless and until I do not have a strong reason for practicing it, I do not take it up. So my profession taught me that go into the details. Likewise, this Vedanta Sutra aphorism, it says Athato Brahma Jigyasa. In other words, one should be inquisitive to know about soul, which is there within our body. And the second, that we should be inquisitive to know about God. Because God is not just there in the books. God is there in the heart of all the living entities. He is everywhere. That is why we say God as omnipresence. He is everywhere. And He stays in Bhagavad Gita at many places. I am everywhere. But the question that we should ask from ourselves, have we realized it yet that God is everywhere? Theoretically, we may accept it as a matter of fact that yes, God is everywhere. But that does not work unless and until we do not realize this very fact that yes, God is everywhere. Theoretical knowledge is okay. We must have studied a lot of things in the books. But practically, what we live with is what really matters in life. So one should be inquisitive about life, what is really going on inside our body. As a doctor, we may get an idea, okay, we may have an understanding of our body to the extent of, let's say, 5%, maybe 10%, maybe 15%. But 100%, no doctor of this world can tell what is happening within our body. Not even a biggest scientist of this world can claim what all is going on within this body. Because this body in itself is a very complex mechanism. This human body it's a very privileged body actually. We all have got. Unfortunately, when we get into the society, we forget the value of this very human body. And we get ourselves busy in a lot of other things, and we forget God in that process. So like Dr. Rius talked about the initial part of Bhagavad Gita, and Bhagavad Gita is like a ocean which you can keep on diving into, and you can get to know a lot every second day. If you are a sincere, serious and an honest student, then you can learn a lot from Bhagavad Gita. People often think that, okay, Bhagavad Gita is a religious book. But believe me, let me tell you the fact that it is not just a religious book. It teaches us how to deal with our brain. It teaches us how to do management. It teaches us how to do politics. It teaches us how to live in harmony with the relationships of this world. So it is teaching us everything. Now the problem is that we are looking around, doing a lot of research on many subjects, but we are forgetting the basic point, Athato Brahma Jigyasa. So I'll be discussing the 5 topics of Bhagavad Gita in a nutshell, which Krishna has mentioned there. And these are very logical subject matters. The first topic that starts with is Ishvara. Ishvara means God. When we say Ishvara, it is a Sanskrit term. It is basically representing controller. Now when you look, you all are sitting on the table. On the table, there is a beautiful flower in the water. Now whenever we look at this flower, we know that this flower has come from somewhere. So we'll think, okay, we'll do a little more analysis. We'll come to know that, okay, this flower has come from a seed. Then the question comes from where that seed has come. Then we'll say, okay, the seed might have come from a tree, maybe from some fruit. Then again the question comes where the tree has come from. This is called as cause and effect relationship. Everything has an origin, everything has a basis. Because you cannot create this natural, beautiful flower in a laboratory. Am I correct? Can it be created in a laboratory? It cannot be created in a laboratory. So that means someone has created it. There is a beautiful creator behind it who has created it. So same things applies to our life, that someone has created our life. It has not come on its own. And this is where the Big Bang theory comes into the big question, actually. And from the very beginning of our studies, we are being taught about the existence of Big Bang theory. I was reading an article in the newspaper some years back, and in US, more than 50% of people, they do not believe in the Big Bang theory. And the whole science is dependent on Big Bang theory. If you remove Big Bang theory, then they will have to accept the presence of God, which they do not want to do. So, Ishvara, and Krishna says clearly in Bhagavad Gita, Matta paratra nanyat kinchit asti dhananjaya mai sarvam idam prokta mani sutra ganaiva. That means he has given a very beautiful analogy. You can see the pearls. We only see this moti. We do not see the thread behind. But Krishna says that unseen is proven by seen. What does that mean? Can anyone help me to understand with this example? Unseen is proven by seen. Anyone from the audience would like to mention? Unseen is proven by seen. We see a lot of things in this world, like we talked about this flower. Flower is something that we can easily see. Like this, in the necklace, we can easily see the pearls. That is seen object. And behind that pearls, there is a thread. We cannot see the thread, but necklace is dependent on the thread. If there is no thread, there cannot be a necklace. Am I correct? So that means what you see, don't just restrict yourself in life to what you see. You have to go beyond. And then you come to know the fact that yes, unseen is existing, because first we see seen, that is flower, and then there is someone who has created that flower, who is not being visible to our eyes at present. But if we become a little expert with the help of knowledge, then we will get to know, yes, there is someone who is acting as unseen. And that is Ishvara. And that is what Krishna has talked about in Bhagavad Gita as the first topic. Then the second topic is on Jiva. Jiva means the living entity. You know, when you are sitting in this room, it's not just that we as human beings, we are sitting. There are so many living beings who are sitting in this room, not just we. So much. Right? So this is where the role of Jiva comes into the picture. And the Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Mame Vansha Jiva Loka Jiva Bhuta Sanatana. Who we are? We are part and parcel of God. So we are one of the energy of God. You cannot create a brain in the laboratory. Can you create a brain in the laboratory? If that would have been possible, we would have preserved the brain of Albert Einstein, and with the idea that hopefully when the science will advance, then we'll make another brain. That's not possible. So why I'm telling this? Because ultimately it is in the control of God. Who is there? Who is acting as the part and parcel? He is there, and we see the energy. Human beings are energy of God. We can see energy of God, but we cannot directly perceive God. So Jiva, the living entities. The third one is Prakriti. Prakriti means the material nature. Now when we talk about material nature, everything that we see within this world, there are total 8 elements that we can see or perceive through our senses. 5 elements are the gross elements and 3 elements are the subtle elements. Now when we talk about the gross elements, we have Prithvi, Jal, Agni, Vayu and Akash. In Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, Bhumi Rapanalo Vayukha Manor Buddhir Evachaha Ahankar Itiyama Bhinna Prakriti Rastradha. So 5 elements, the material elements that Krishna is talking about, which we can easily perceive. Then there are subtle elements, 3 elements. That is mind, intelligence and false ego. And we all have it here within this compound. But we cannot see it. So this is Prakriti. And we can visualize all those things. And everything is happening around us. And what is that? Where is it coming from? It's energy of God. That is something, the energy we can see, we can perceive, we can experience. But yes, God we cannot see directly, but we can see the energy. And we can take an example of sun. We have not personally gone to the sun planet. We cannot go there. But we feel the presence of sun with the help of, yes, how do we feel the presence of sun? The sun rays. The sun rays comes onto the earth, and then we are in a position to see or understand the mechanism of sun, the energy that sun carries. Because if the sun will come onto the earth, the whole earth will destroy. It's not possible. So there is a sun. We understand the sun through the energy of the sun. We do not have the power to directly perceive, understand and experience the power of sun. First we understand sun rays, and through that we can have some idea, some glimpse of what the sun is in reality. So likewise the God is. So we have the living entities who are part and parcel of God. We cannot perceive God directly as of now, but through the energies of God, we can easily experience presence of God in our day-to-day life. So this is third factor, Prakriti, the material nature, which can be easily perceived through our gross or subtle senses. The fourth factor is Kala. Now Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita again, I am eternal time, and with the passage of time, everything will be destroyed. You may create a big skyscraper building today, but as the time will progress, that building will vanish. Whatever we may create today, ultimately it's going to vanish. Time is the biggest destroyer. Ultimately, it destroys everything. Our life is also gradually deteriorating with the passage of time. And the beauty of the time is that you can measure everything with the help of time. Everything can be measured. Now you are sitting here, you might be thinking how much time this sir will take and finish off the presentation. That thought may come into the mind. Now because you are busy, you have so many things to do in your life, you will say, okay, this is what we all know. Once he finishes off, we have other things to listen, we have other things to do. So everything is measured by time. Our life is going, time is going, and Chanakya Pandit says that you may spend entire money of this world, but you cannot get a second back. So time is very precious, and in today's world we are being taught that let's take out time for everything except God. Because we are so much busy in the life of Delhi metropolitan city that we do not have time to think about God. That's the biggest fallacy in today's modern society. We are doing everything. We have created skyscraper buildings, we have nice metro around us, we have nice houses, cozy houses to live with. But ultimately, everything is simply vanishing. Because our whole energy is just spent in creating those objects which do not have a real, tangible, intrinsic value. This is the fourth factor. And the fifth factor, like Dr. Rius said, about the karma. Now when we talk about karma, karma also has three divisions. Three divisions on a broader side in Bhagavad Gita have been specified. The first karma is the good deeds. We talk about कि किसी का बुरा मत करो, सबके लिए अच्छा करो, झूठ मत बोलो, चोरी मत करो. We all talk about these things, कि these are the good things that we should follow, and we should be a good human being, and this is in itself is religion. Actually, this is not just a religion. You are a good person, nice. But religion starts afterward. Don't restrict yourself to being a good person in your life. Good deeds, yes, we should do. Then the second level is bad deeds, definitely we should not do. Theft, murder, committing different kind of sinful activities. And the third thing is devotion. Now if you want to understand the intricacies between all these 5 factors, if you do good deeds, you will not understand. If you will do bad deeds, you will not understand. You will have to come to the first point itself, which I talked about. You will have to come back here. This is where I started with. To understand the interrelationship between Ishvara, Jeev, Prakriti, Kal and Karma, you will have to practice the science of devotion. If you will not practice the science of devotion, or you will not try to give a conscious thought to this very subject matter in your life, then no matter whatever you do, ultimately everything is shram evahi kevalam. Everything is a simply wastage of time, nothing else. You have to understand now, what is my relationship with God? Why do I exist in this world? What do I have to do with these elements? Am I here just to enjoy? What are the good deeds that I should perform? What are the bad deeds that I should, get rid of in my life? And what is my duty towards God? And this is where you are entering into the region of love. And we have to ultimately understand the science of love, and that can be done only when we establish our true relationship with God. And this is a principle and a sublime message of Bhagavad Gita. So with this note, I request all of you to please understand Bhagavad Gita. It has a lot, and lot can be learned, lot can be practiced. and lot can be applied in our day-to-day life. In a short span of time, this is what I could present. I really thank Dr. Pawan Sharma for giving us an opportunity to speak on this topic, and we look forward, if God willing, we'll present something again in near future. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.